From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Malacañang once again ordered the implementation of appropriate alternative work arrangements in government offices and alternative learning modes in public and private schools in Metro Manila and 17 provinces on Thursday amid continued heavy rains from the southwest monsoon or habagat. Executive Secretary Ralph Recto signed Memorandum Circular number 131 on Wednesday following the recommendation of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC, citing the threat of localized flooding and travel hazards due to persistent rains. The measure covers the National Capital Region or NCR and the provinces of Abra, Benguet, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan, Bataan, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Tarlac, Zambales, Batangas, Cavite, Laguna, Rizal, and Occidental Mindoro. Government offices providing basic and health services, disaster preparedness and response, and other essential services are excluded from the alternative work arrangements. Contract of service and job order workers placed under alternative work arrangements will continue to receive their corresponding pay, subject to existing rules and regulations. The palace also left to local chief executives the decision to suspend classes or work in areas not covered by the memorandum depending on local conditions. Private sector employers may likewise decide whether to suspend work. The palace urged the public to remain vigilant and take necessary precautions amid the continuing rains. The latest directive follows widespread flooding caused by torrential rains that have affected thousands of barangays and displaced or disrupted the lives of millions of Filipinos, mostly from Luzon. Government working classes in Metro Manila and several other areas have been under a flexible setup since Monday due to the inclement weather.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Weather Bureau has warned that another intense rainfall episode, similar to the deluge that dumped 219 millimeters of rain over Quezon City earlier this week, cannot be ruled out as the southwest monsoon or habagat continues to be enhanced by nearby weather systems. Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA Assistant Weather Services Chief Chris Perez said, the country remains in the habagat season, when enhanced monsoon conditions can occasionally unleash large volumes of rain in a short period. Perez noted that Quezon City's rainfall on Monday was nearly half of its normal monthly average for August, which is about 508 millimeters based on 30-year climatological data. He added that Tropical Depression Neneng, though not expected to make landfall, is enhancing the monsoon and bringing rains over Metro Manila and western Luzon. Another tropical depression over the West Philippine Sea is also strengthening the system. Pagasa forecasts 100 to 200 millimeters of rain in Pangasinan, Zambales, Bataan, and Occidental Mindoro within 24 hours, while Metro Manila and other parts of northern and central Luzon may receive 50 to 100 millimeters. Perez advised residents to closely monitor Pagasa forecasts and rainfall warnings, especially in flood-prone and landslide-prone areas. As of Thursday morning, Neneng was located 390 kilometers north of Itbayat, Batanes, packing maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 55 kilometers per hour, moving northwestward at 30 kilometers per hour. It is expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility without making landfall.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. says floodwater in Metro Manila are now receding faster and reaching lower levels, pointing to early gains from the government's flood control and water management efforts despite days of intense monsoon rains. Speaking at a situation briefing at the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA Command Center in Pasig City Wednesday, the president noted that floods, which previously lingered for 2 to 3 days, now clear in less than 24 hours. He added that water levels are significantly lower compared to past major flooding events. On Monday alone, Metro Manila absorbed 201 millimeters of rain in just 5 hours, nearly half the volume dumped by Tropical Storm Ondoy in 2009. President Marcos credited dredging of waterways, drainage upgrades, and the operation of 73 pumping stations and 11 mobile units under the government's Oplan Kontra Baha campaign. Launched in November 2025, the program covers 142 kilometers of rivers, creeks, and esteros, and more than 333 kilometers of drainage systems across the capital.
Kita natin may mga lugar na talaga namang tinamaan pa rin ng baha pero mas bawas na. Kung dati ay 2 stories ang baha, ngayon siguro hanggang tuhod na lang. Yung iba hindi na nabaha. At ang isa pang bagay dyan ay mas mabilis na ang paglabas ng tubig. At kung dati mag-aantay ang tao ng 2-3 araw bago mawala yung baha, ngayon wala pang 1 araw wala na. At sa loob ng 5 oras, 201 millimeters. Ito ay katumbas ng 44% bumagsak itong tubig ito in 5 hours. This is 44% of the water, the rain that fell during Typhoon Ondoy over a period of 24 hours. So 1/2 of the water volume that fell for 24 hours in Typhoon Ondoy, this time within 5 hours, 44% of that. So it was 201 millimeters that fell in 5 hours, and that is yan ang ating ngayon na hinaharap dahil nga sa climate change, dahil yung Ondoy was special, was unusual. Now this is a little bit becoming a little bit like the new normal. Makita natin na maganda naman ang naging epekto, patuloy yung ating dredging, yung ating mga pininspeksyon, yung pinalaki natin ng mga drainage systems, naglagay tayo ng malalaking tubo. Kung maalala ninyo, meron tayong mga pinuntahan na pinalitan yung mga after World War II pa yung mga drainage na ginawa, ay pinaltan natin yung maliliit na concrete na tubo, ay pinaltan na natin yung na mas malaki na tubo para mas mabilis ang paglabas ng pagdaloy ng tubig. Pati na yung mga pumping station natin, we have 73 pumping stations that are all of them are functioning now. Marami doon ay hindi pa nakapag-function, minsan hindi pa gumana yon. Yung mga iba dyan, ngayon napapaandar na natin lahat. At patuloy pa rin ang ating dredging, patuloy pa rin ang ating pagbomba. Ang pumping station, meron pa tayo yung mobile na pumping equipment. We have 11 of those, I believe, that we are also using.
President Marcos acknowledged the severe impact of the Habagat, which has affected 4,700 barangays and 1.7 million families, with 27 deaths and 17 injuries reported. The chief executive said the government will continue dredging while pursuing short, medium, and long-term solutions, including underground water impounding facilities with technical assistance from the Netherlands. Potential sites include the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex, Camp Aguinaldo, and the University of Santo Tomas. President Marcos stressed that while much work remains, the improvements seen in recent weeks show the positive effects of interventions carried out over the past 6 to 7 months.
Ang tinamaan dito ay 4,700 barangays, 1.7 million families. We have unfortunately already 27 casualties and 17 who are injured. So you can see that the effects of the monsoon has been widespread and severe in terms of its effect. And so moving forward, what we are looking at is meron tayong na-identify, meron na may tumulong sa atin na galing Netherlands na tinuruan tayo at pinag-aralan kung saan, ano ba yung mga iba pwede natin gawin. And those are to maghuhukay tayo sa ilalim ng mga existing na facilities. Halimbawa, yung mga football field, yung mga open fields, yung mga kahit na may building, pwede namang hukayin yun. And they have already identified 30 sites, some of which are in Raja Sulaiman, Rizal Memorial, Camp Aguinaldo. Para sa ilalim lahat ito. Hindi huhukayin ito tapos i-restore naman kung ano yung nandun dati. Sa Camp Aguinaldo, sa UST. At ang natapos na, kaya't meron na tayong 30 na sites na pwede nating gamitin para dito sa mga cistern. At inaantay na lang natin yung detailed engineering at kapag which will be finished when kailan kaya?
Hopefully within the month, Mr. President.
Within this month matatapos na yung detailed engineering. Pag natapos na yung detailed engineering, titignan namin, ipaprioritize na namin, sisimulan na namin ang paghukay. We are already at present time conferring and speaking to the areas, kung sino man ang namamahala doon sa mga area na yon, na pumayag sila para hukayin nga yung kanilang lugar. So there is still a lot of work that needs to be done, but with the effects that we have seen, because after all, if we look at the beginnings of the water management that we have done, this is the effect of the work of the last 6-7 months. Nakita natin na nakabawas kaagad, kaya ipapagpatuloy natin ito, and to make sure that we have solutions for the very short term, we have solutions for the medium term, and eventually we will have solutions for the longer term.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has directed all national government agencies to take part in the month-long celebration of the Philippine Creative Industries Month, or PCIM, this September. Under Memorandum Circular, or MC number 130, signed August 18th, President Marcos ordered agencies and government-owned corporations to support the event, while local government units, or LGUs, and the private sector are encouraged to join. This year's PCIM carries the theme, "We are a creative nation," with programs and activities set nationwide. The Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, has been tasked to promote public awareness of the celebration. PCIM is observed every September under Republic Act, or RA number 11904, the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act, which highlights the sector's role in nation building and economic growth. The law also created the Philippine Creative Industries Development Council, with the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, serving as secretariat. The circular notes that the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028 identifies tourism, culture, and creative industries as key strategies for strengthening the services sector and building a distinctly Filipino brand. Funding will be drawn from agency appropriations subject to existing rules. The directive takes effect immediately.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has designated the Secretary of Tourism as Vice Chairperson for Operations of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN National Organizing Council, or NOC, to strengthen preparations for the Philippines' hosting of the ASEAN Summit meetings in 2026. The designation was made under Administrative Order, or AO number 48, signed August 13th by Acting Executive Secretary Ralph Recto, amending AO number 17, Series of 2024. The Vice Chairperson for Operations will assist the Chairperson in providing strategic direction and operational oversight, while also leveraging the hosting to showcase the country's culture, hospitality, and tourism assets. AO 48 further mandates that the NOC Executive Committee and its subcommittees report directly to the Vice Chairperson for Operations. The Department of Tourism was earlier tasked to chair the Committee on Tourism, Hospitality, Tours, Events, and Site Enhancement, responsible for planning and supervising operational activities for ASEAN 2026. The palace emphasized that the hosting presents a strategic opportunity to advance national tourism policy as declared under the Tourism Act of 2009 by enhancing the Philippines' global profile and reinforcing its position as a preferred tourism and meetings destination. AO 48 takes effect immediately upon publication in the Official Gazette or in any newspaper of general circulation.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, is urging state media to exercise the highest level of caution when reporting incidents involving minors, while appealing to private media organizations to ensure coverage protects the dignity, safety, and privacy of minors and their bereaved families. PCO Secretary Dave Gomez stressed that state media must show restraint in reporting sensitive cases, avoiding details that could compromise minors or disrupt ongoing response and investigation efforts. He clarified that the PCO will not impose restrictions on private media, but appealed for responsible and careful reporting, particularly in tragedies involving children. Gomez also warned against publishing details that could potentially encourage copycat acts. The PCO emphasized that responsible coverage is vital to protecting vulnerable individuals and their families while authorities continue their response and investigation.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Philippine government has rolled out nearly 800 million pesos in humanitarian assistance to communities hit by successive heavy rains, as President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. convened his cabinet Wednesday to intensify flood response and mitigation efforts. In a briefing, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, has already released close to 800 million pesos in aid, including 2.3 million in financial assistance, while another 832 million pesos in standby funds remain available nationwide. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, has stepped up cleaning and monitoring of rivers, esteros, drainage systems, and coastal areas, while the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, continues inspections and immediate interventions in flooded zones. President Marcos also directed the DPWH to coordinate with the Quezon City government to align its flood control master plan with national efforts. The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, has reminded local government units, or LGUs, to maintain close coordination with disaster councils and stay alert to changing weather conditions. On health, the Department of Health, or DOH, has heightened monitoring for leptospirosis, keeping affected centers for health development under Code White Alert and pre-positioning 3.1 million doxycycline capsules nationwide.
Walang hinto ang pamahalaan sa pagsasagawa ng mga hakbang sa mga lugar na lubhang naapektuhan ng sunod-sunod na pag-ulan sa Metro Manila at ilang bahagi ng bansa. Alinsunod ito sa utos ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na siguruhin na ligtas ang mga residente sa gitna ng walang tigil na pag-ulan. Sa tulong ng mga Estero Rangers at River Warriors ng Department of Environment and Natural Resources at partner organizations, mas lalo pang pinigting ng DNR sa pangunguna ni Secretary Juan Miguel Cuna ang paglilinis at pagbabantay sa mga ilog, estero, drainage system at baybaying lugar. Ang DPWH naman, sa pangunguna ni Secretary Vince Dizon, ay patuloy ang pag-iikot sa mga lugar na binaha upang agad na alamin ang kondisyon ng mga apektadong lugar at malapatan ng solusyon. Ipinag-utos din ng Pangulo sa DPWH na makipag-ugnayan sa lokal na pamahalaan ng Quezon City upang maiayon ang Flood Control Master Plan ng lungsod upang lalo pang bumilis ang paghupa ng baha sa lugar. Pinapaalalahanan naman ng DILG sa pangunguna ni Secretary John Vic Remulla ang ilang regional and provincial directors sa mga LGU sa mga apektadong lugar na panatilihin ang pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council upang bantayan ang sama ng panahon. Pinapaalalahanan din ang lahat na maging alerto at magbantay upang maiwasan ang disgrasya sa mga apektadong lugar. Nakatutok din ang DOH sa pangunguna ni Secretary Edwin Mercado sa posibleng pagtaas ng kaso ng leptospirosis, dulot ng malawakang pagbaha. Kaugnay nito na nanatiling operational at sapat ang supply ng mga pasilidad ng DOH habang nakataas ang Code White Alert sa mga apektadong Centers for Health Development. At patuloy naman ang pakikipag-ugnayan sa National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Nakaakbang din ang nasa 3.1 million doxycycline capsules ng DOH Central Office at sa 17 CHDs. Sapat ang supply ng mga gamot para tumugon sa pangangailangan ng mga ospital at lokal na pamahalaan. Ayon sa DSWD sa pangunguna ng Secretary Rex Gatchalian, umabot na sa halos 800 million pesos ang humanitarian assistance na inilabas ng pamahalaan sa gitna ng sunod-sunod na pag-ulan. Habang nasa 2.3 million pesos na financial assistance ang ipinaabot sa mga apektadong residente. Nananatiling handa ang DSWD para maghatid ng tulong sa mga binahang residente. Sa kasalukuyan ay nasa 832 million pesos ang standby funds ng pamahalaan sa buong bansa.
Was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has ordered round-the-clock monitoring of Magat Dam in Isabela and Pantabangan Dam in Nueva Ecija as heavy rains continue to safeguard downstream communities and ensure reliable operations. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the President directed agencies to keep a close watch on water levels. The National Irrigation Administration or NIA reported Magat Dam at 178.27 meters above sea level and Pantabangan at 187.72 meters, both within normal ranges. No spillway gates were open and no discharge was recorded. NIA Administrator Eddie Guillen also reported no widespread damage to rice crops, noting that the rains have boosted irrigation supply. Magat Dam can irrigate about 90,000 hectares, while Pantabangan covers 100,000 hectares. Castro emphasized that the rainfall has helped improve water availability for agriculture, especially in areas previously affected by El Nino. She assured the public that monitoring will continue amid persistent rains to protect communities while supporting farmers' needs.
Alinsunod sa utos ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na ipagpatuloy ang mahigpit na pagbabantay sa ating mga dam, tiniyak ng National Irrigation Authority sa pangunguna ni Administrator Eduardo Eddie Guillen na nakatutok ang kanilang tanggapan sa level ng tubig sa Pantabangan at Magat Dam. Batay ito sa kanilang pinakabagong ulat. Nasa 178.27 meters above sea level na ang water level sa Magat Dam sa Isabela, habang nasa 187.72 meters above sea level naman ang nasa Pantabangan Dam sa Nueva Ecija. Iniulat din ng NIA na walang nakabukas na spillway gate sa dalawang dam at wala ring naiulat na spill discharge. Ayon kay NIA Administrator Eddie Guillen, walang naitalang malawakang pinsala sa mga pananim na palay. Sa kabilang dako ay inilahad naman ng tanggapan na naging kapaki-pakinabang ang pag-ulan dahil napakalakas at napalakas nito ang irigasyon sa ating mga sakahan. Ayon sa datos ng NIA, katumbas ng 90,000 hectares ang kayang patubigan ng Magat Dam at 100,000 hectares naman mula sa Pantabangan Dam dahil sa pag-ulan. Malaking ginhawa ang hatid nito sa ating mga magsasaka na naapektuhan ng El Nino. Makakaasa naman ang taong bayan na ongoing ang pag-monitor ng NIA sa water level ng mga dam sa kabila ng sunod-sunod na pag-ulan.
Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Malacañang is awaiting the Department of Education or DepEd's proposal for a school-based approach to class resumption following several days of suspension due to heavy rains and severe weather. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said DepEd, led by Secretary Sani Angara, is studying a more flexible system that allows decisions to be based on the actual conditions of each school and community, rather than blanket suspensions across entire provinces or cities. DepEd earlier signaled it is considering school-level resumption to prevent learning loss, allowing safe and unaffected schools to resume in-person classes despite broader local suspensions. The agency is also reviewing Executive Order No. 66, Series of 2012, which sets guidelines for class and work suspensions during calamities. Castro emphasized that geography and risks vary among communities, making safety assessments critical. She clarified that schools will not act independently, stressing the need for coordination with LGUs, clear communication, and accountability.
Ayon sa DepEd, mas gusto po nila magkaroon ng flexible at nakabase sa actual situation ng bawat school at community, hindi yung automatic na pare-pareho ang suspension sa buong province, city, or municipality. Magkakaiba kasi ang geography, risk at conditions sa bawat lugar. Kung safe, pwedeng mag-resume. Kung hindi safe, suspended. Pero hindi ibig sabihin nito na kanya-kanya ang schools. Mahalaga ang coordination at shared responsibility with the LGUs, kasama ang clear safety assessment, timely communication at accountability bago magdesisyon. So ito po ay palalawigin ni Secretary Sani Angara at pag-uusapan ito sa mga eskwelahan para alam nila kung paano magbigay ng ulat kapag mayroong masamang panahon.
At least 600 schools nationwide have suspended face-to-face classes due to the southwest monsoon or habagat. DepEd continues to encourage alternative learning arrangements, including online classes, to minimize disruptions. No proposal has yet been relayed to the palace regarding changes to the school calendar.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other developments, the Department of Education or DepEd is calling for stronger mental health programs as part of long-term solutions to address school violence. Education Secretary Sani Angara personally joined a security briefing and inspected the Ateneo de Zamboanga University Junior High School campus Wednesday, a day after the shooting incident that claimed 2 lives. He met with school officials, city leaders, and the Philippine National Police or PNP to discuss safety measures. Angara stressed that security drills alone are not enough, pointing to the need for psychological and socio-emotional support for learners. He said DepEd is working to expand mental health interventions, noting the urgency of the situation. The agency is preparing to hire more school counselors and counselor associates beginning school year 2026 to 2027, following the approval of new qualification standards. About 10,000 positions may be created under the plan. Angara emphasized that schools must serve as second homes, where learners feel welcomed and cared for. He also urged vigilance against possible nihilistic influences online, warning that violent groups and groomers can exploit vulnerable youth. Parents were advised to monitor their children's online interactions closely. DepEd appealed to the public to avoid posting or sharing details, photos, or videos of the incident to protect the privacy and dignity of affected learners and families. Angara reminded everyone not to draw premature conclusions while investigations continue.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meantime, the Philippine National Police or PNP has ordered tighter coordination with social media platforms to take down all photos and videos of the August 18 shooting at the Ateneo de Zamboanga University Junior High School, which the minor suspect live-streamed during the attack. PNP Chief General Jose Milencio Nartates Jr. said the move aims to prevent netizens, especially minors, from reposting or sharing sensitive content. He appealed to the public to show compassion and responsibility by refraining from circulating the materials, which could cause further distress to victims and families and interfere with the investigation. Nartate said the anti-cybercrime group and other units are monitoring the spread of the videos online in line with directives from President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Interior Secretary John Vic Rimulya to strengthen community protection. Police teams have already responded to the campus and are investigating how the minor managed to smuggle 2 firearms inside. Nartate stressed the probe will go beyond the attack itself, examining the circumstances that led to the incident. He also highlighted the need for stricter gun safety requirements, including a comprehensive seminar on safekeeping firearms and ammunition to be required not only for new licenses but also for renewals. The PNP, through its Firearms and Explosives Office, remains the sole authority for issuing gun permits under Republic Act 10591.
Dateline Malacañang.
In a related story, Malacañang assured Wednesday that sufficient funds have been allocated to strengthen school security under the proposed 2027 National Expenditure Program or NEP submitted to Congress. Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary Claire Castro said Education Secretary Sonny Angara has committed to fund measures that will safeguard learners nationwide. She cited the Department of Budget and Management or DBM, noting that provisions for security services are included in schools' maintenance and operating expenses or MOOE and regular programs rather than a separate line item. Campus security has become a major concern following recent school shooting incidents in Tacloban City and Zamboanga City that claimed the lives of junior high school students. DepEd has since strengthened safety protocols and conducted nationwide emergency drills in line with the President's directive to ensure schools are prepared for crisis.
Kahit bago pa magsimula ang school year noong June at lalo na pagkatapos ng insidente sa Tacloban, inatasan na po ng Pangulo ang DepEd na magsagawa ng nationwide school safety audit. Na i-present na rin po sa Pangulo ang results at mga ginagawa ng DepEd tulad ng bag inspection, paglalagay ng metal detectors at CCTV at pagdagdag ng security guards lalo na sa malalaking schools. Ngayong school year, ipinatupad na rin po ng DepEd ang strengthened school safety protocols alinsunod sa utos ng Pangulo noong nakaraang taon. Sa August 25, magkakaroon din po ng nationwide school safety drill para mas maging handa ang ating mga paaralan. Opo, sinabi po mismo ni Secretary Sonny Angara na isa ito sa kanilang tututukan at paglalaanan po ng pondo. Hindi po natin nakuha yung pinaka-eksakto na amount kung magkano ang ilalaan dito. Pero ayon na rin po sa DBM, the proposed fiscal year 2027 national budget provides funding that schools may use for security requirements as part of their regular operations. For public schools, provisions for security services are generally lodged under their maintenance and other operating expenses, MOOE, and regular programs, rather than presented as single separate budget item labeled school security. So, maasahan po na mayroon pong ilalaan na pondo para po sa mas pinaigting na seguridad sa ating mga kabataan, lalo-lalo na sa mga eskwelahan.
Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Malacañang clarified Wednesday that remarks made by Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary Claire Castro on the role of teachers in guiding students were misinterpreted, stressing she was not blaming educators for recent school violence. This statement came after the Alliance of Concerned Teachers, or ACT, criticized her comments following the Ateneo de Zamboanga University Junior High School shooting, calling them reckless and insulting. Castro said her remarks were intended as a reminder of teachers' vital role in shaping values alongside parents and not as an accusation. She emphasized respect for educators, noting her own mother was a public school teacher. She cited specific incidents including students heckling President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in Davao City and a teacher posting a video teaching students insulting words directed at the chief executive. The latter case is now under administrative proceedings, with the teacher admitting to making the video. Castro said the Department of Education has since issued a memorandum reminding teachers to uphold professionalism. She acknowledged why some educators felt offended but maintained her remarks should not be construed as blaming them for violence.
At dahil po dyan, sa pangyaring yan, ay naglabas po ng reminder on responsible use of social media by all DepEd personnel. Ito po ay nilabas noong August 11, 2026 ng DepEd mismo. Kung saan sinasabi, this office has received reports of social media posts involving teachers and other school personnel that professionalism expected of DepEd personnel. So may mga lumabag po sa mga tamang kaugalian na nakikita ng kanila mismo mga estudyante. So nauunawaan po natin kung saan po nanggagaling ang ating mga guro, pero wag po nila sanang masamain kung atin lamang nire-remind at pinapaalalahanan na muli na napakalaki po ng inyong role bilang pangalawang magulang sa ating mga kabataan, at hindi ko po kailanman hindi bibigyang galang ang mga guro. Dahil ang aking ina, hindi pa po ako pinapanganak, ay isang public school teacher sa Malolos Marcelo H. Del Pilar High School. Hanggang siya ay namayapa, nanatili po siyang guro. So muli, nais lamang po nating ipakita sa mga guro na hindi po kayo lahat, hindi po kayo sinisisi. Ito ay pagpapaalala. At sa mga ganito po, kung meron po kayo nakikitang inyong mga kasamahan na maaaring lumalabag sa alintuntunin para sa mas magandang pagtuturo sa ating mga kabataan, ay kayo na po rin ang tumulong sa ating pamahalaan. At ito rin po ay makakatulong sa ating mga kabataan. So sa ganito po ay nais po nating sabihin sa ating mga guro, napakalaki po ng inyong mga katungkulan para sa paghubog na magandang kaugalian, magandang asal or magandang attitude sa ating mga kabataan. At sa ACT Teachers Party List, hindi po ito paninisi. Sana ilagay po natin sa tamang konteksto ang aking sinabi. Hindi ito pag-atake sa mga guro. So, simple lamang po, ang ating mga guro, maaari po nating turuan ang ating mga estudyante kung paano magbigay ng tamang pagpapahayag. Kung meron silang sasabihin against the government, karapatan po yan. Pero iba po ang pagtuturo ng freedom of expression at iba rin po ang pagtuturo kung paano ito isasagawa nang walang pang-iinsulto at walang pakita ng maling pag-uugali. So kahit sino po ang ating maging presidente, ito pong aralin ito ay dapat na manatili sa atin.
Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radio Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and mabuhay.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.